So it's a huge achievement, and whatever happens, we're going to fight for that. And so it's really proud to be a Labour Party member now.
Of the abuse of Jeremy Corbyn, you've been subject to that abuse as well, haven't you? Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, well, it's not a pretty picture really.
Can you hold the mic up a bit?
Yes, I can indeed. How's that? Okay. I think we all know what it's been like, and Jeremy has been abused most hurtfully by members of our party and by MPs in our party, who to me should not. There's one in particular who called him a foul-mouthed abuse, using the F word, and I think there's no place in the party for people like that.
Absolutely.
But no, I was accused with. I think this is what you're talking about is there was a piece in the Guardian right at the outset of this racist campaign that accused me and Len McCluskey and Ken Livingstone of being responsible for the dark heart of the Labour Party. And this was after I was quoted saying at a meeting that in my experience of 50 years or more of going to left meetings, trade union meetings, campaign meetings, Labour Party meetings of course, that I hadn't heard anyone say anything anti-Semitic or do anything anti-Semitic, and no one had pointed it out to me if I'd missed it. And for that I was responsible for denying it, allegedly. And it was a journalist called Jonathan Friedland, who I think was the whistleblower for the whole campaign.
Awful.
But what he didn't say, and this is the dishonesty of his piece and the dishonesty of the campaign, to libel and slander the Labour Party. What he didn't say was that was at the founding meeting of Jewish Voice for Labour. He didn't mention it was a Jewish meeting. He didn't mention that there was Stephen Sedley, who was a retired High Court judge. He was at the meeting and spoke at much greater length and much more effectively, obviously, than me and Len, who were just there for a 2-minute piece just to say good luck. It was almost entirely Jewish speakers making those very points. And that of course it was a party safe for everyone, whatever their backgrounds. And so that was the dishonesty. And since then, that opened the gate, and everyone who's been named in this way gets the same things. I get pushed around the street, you get things muttered to you in the tube if somebody recognises you. Death threats on social media, of course. Threats against grandchildren. We know which schools they go to. Nasty things said. My wife got handwritten letters to our home, which is in Bath, saying, "Why is this man still breathing?" And that's the other side of the nastiness and the viciousness that is not reported. And I mean, I'm not making a big thing of what's happened to us. I mean, others get it far, far worse. So I mean, I'm playing minor player in this, but it's pretty nasty. And I think I think whoever stood on this programme would be attacked.
Exactly.
I think what has particularly stirred them about Jeremy is that he stood with the Palestinians, the Palestinian rights, the rights of the Palestinians rather, from day one, and he's spoken at meetings to oppose the theft of their land and everything that's gone with it. So I think that's made him particularly vulnerable. But also, and I'm sure this has occurred to you, that the media have used this with no sense of balance whatsoever. There are many Jewish people in the party. I mean, I know many of them, and I always refer to them for anything that one wants to say. is this okay? Is this supported by you? Does the evidence support this? Whatever it is, and they are never heard, rarely heard. Jewish Voice for Labour is one. The Jewish Socialist Group. Somebody wrote in very early on from the Jewish Socialist Group that anti-Semitism was being weaponised to undermine the Jeremy Corbyn-led Labour Party. He said that right early on, and everything has fitted that pattern. And we know that many Jewish people have written to the papers saying this is not true, it is a very safe place for everyone, and so on and so on. But they don't get the coverage. There was a rabbi from European Jewry who wrote a letter to Jeremy Corbyn, which was again made publicly available, saying that it was politically motivated, and thanking him for his continued support over many years to the Jewish community. Never reported. And it undermines real racism when it's used for political purposes. Because, I mean, everyone, and I'm sure there is racism in the Labour Party because it's in society, and with 500,000 people or more, yes, there will be people who will say stupid things. Some of the cases look like cases of mental illness, to be honest. And that obviously takes time to unravel. And what's been clear is that they say there are still cases outstanding, but some of them are contested, and people are represented by lawyers. Well, that takes it to a whole other time frame, and you then can't just say, oh, well, doesn't matter, we'll deal with it, you're out, because there are legal requirements. So of course things are delayed, and then that takes up a lot of time, and then other cases are delayed because there's a whole legal process to go through. So, and of course there's been a huge increase in the number of cases presented, the number of accusations made, and many of them are found to be spurious. Many of them are found to relate to people who are not members of the Labour Party at all.
Exactly.
There's a very important book, the one book I think has been written, is by a man, well, 5 serious academics, led by Greg Filer of the Glasgow Media Group, and Justin Schlossberg from Birkbeck, Anthony Lerman, Mike Berry, and another, his name's just come out of my head. Serious academics at the top of their profession. They're holding down high, very respected places in major universities, have written this piece. And it really takes it apart. But that was due to be launched at the Labour Party conference in Brighton, in Waterstones. A few hours before it was due to be launched, Waterstones rang up and said, sorry, we're not holding that.
I wonder why.
It was sent to every news editor in the BBC, in ITV, Channel 4, the press. Absolutely blank.
Silence.
Not mentioned. And it's, I mean,
Outrageous.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but my God,
Outrageous.
that's a bit strange, isn't it, really? The only academic research done on it, and it tells a different story, so nobody wants to know. Anyway, sorry, it's a long answer to it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, bearing in mind all the threats that you've had, what gives you the strength to carry on? Why is it important that you do so? Why should we all keep fighting the good fight?
Well, I think it's. I mean, it's very difficult to put into words what is such an obvious answer, really, is that we live in the world, we are our brother's keeper. We live, our good health and happiness and security depends on each other. We're not individuals, we're social beings, and it matters to each of us how our neighbours are, and how we live together. And the moment you start to, I mean, it's really trying to tell stories of daily life, you know, the drama of every day. The moment you start to tell those stories, you have the questions of But how do people live? Where does the money come